Hey guys, welcome back to Make Pods Great Again. I'm here with my bestie, Nikki. Nikki, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I am good. I'm excited. We have a very special guest today, the winner of the Mayhem Classic, all-around stud, CrossFit Games athlete, and the smallest calves on this podcast, Chandler Smith. Chandler, how are you?
I'm miserable because that was maybe the worst introduction I ever heard. You had two things incorrect. One thing was very correct. The calves, they're comically small. But actually the main thing that was incorrect was that you said bestie, and I was anticipating me being pretty. And then you went and you talked about Nikki, so that's very confusing for me. And honestly, we're off to a terrible start.
I know. Well, that's kind of how the whole podcast goes, though.
Know how to continue.
Yeah, it's how the whole thing goes. You know,
Yeah.
if I don't make it awkward in the first 5 minutes,
It's great. I hate it.
yeah, it's kind of like every date I've ever
You
had.
can really only go up from here, really. You know.
Pretty-
I think you PR'd. That was within the first 5 seconds, so congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I try my best.
I'm
How are-
kidding. Thanks
how
for
are
having
you?
me down. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Well,
Good. So, so we're excited to have you on. So how are you feeling since Mayhem, man? You went out there and killed it, like crushed it.
yeah, it went pretty well. I think I was probably a little bit more beat up going into that than I thought. So having the season structure the way it is now is kind of give me some time to recover. And I guess folks will know eventually. But like I'd done more damage, I think, to my wrist than I thought going into the competition. And so I'm just happy that I was able to go and execute well enough to like still walk out of there with some confidence and not hurt myself that much worse, I think. Or I mean, long term, I'm screwed. Probably like any other high-level CrossFitter. But walking when you're 40 or playing with your grandkids or any of that stuff is very overrated. And I'm just
Overrated. Yeah.
live fast, die young, all that jazz. So
I'm not sure how I feel how you relate 40 and grandkids together in the same sentence, considering I'm 49. So I felt exceptionally old, like almost immediately.
Well, you should. So
Yeah.
I feel like Chandler, you need to just live on this podcast with us, please.
So this is a fun one because like normally, like I'm going and I'm just doing the straight up Army talking points, telling folks about the Army Warrior Fitness team and that jazz. But this, I feel like the environment with John and with you guys are funny people, and like the account where John, got his fame from is kind of satirical, so I can actually be myself, which is honestly just someone who's very passionate about smack talk. So be ready for that for however long this goes.
Perfect.
Who's your favorite
It's
person?
so perfect.
Who's your favorite person to smack talk?
Travis Williams, easily. One, he's far too dumb to come back with anything. So like every every shot I throw lands flush, and he just sits there and takes it. Two, but he also like really enjoys initiating it. So I feel bad sometimes. Like you came at me first here with the Nikki best friend comment, so that made it to where it's open season. I can say whatever I want about you and not feel badly at all. But
100%. I fully back this up. This is the best plan I've heard all day.
Well, so let me make it up to you. I have a good Travis Williams story. So I'll make it up to you a little bit. So I was at what was the competition? The MAC last year, and I was staying in a hotel, and I'm walking in the elevator, and there's some woman about my mom's age, and she kind of looks like my mom. She got white hair and looks like my mom. And
years old.
What's that?
200.
Yeah,
201.
about that.
40, yeah.
And she's wearing this Houston, Texas shirt, and I look like a CrossFitter because I'm wearing nanos and the whole deal, and so she looks at me. She's like, "Are y'all here for the CrossFit competition?" And I'm like, "Yes, ma'am." And she's like, "My son's a CrossFitter. His name's Travis Williams. You ever heard of him?" And I'm like, "Yes, ma'am. I've heard of Travis." She's like, "Yeah, he's really good at the CrossFit."
The CrossFits.
I'm like, "Yeah, I saw him compete. He kind of got screwed by the judges today." She's like, "Yeah, he's got a little bit of a temper." And I'm like, it was great.
At least Mama Williams knows him well enough to admit, my boy's got some faults, but he also is a heck of a CrossFitter. Anytime I'm trying to go team for anything, he's the first person I pick because he's just a sicko and will throw down for the team crazy like everybody saw in Dubai and any other competition he's done. He's awesome dude to have on your side.
So
but he's like working out with a pit bull. He slobbers everywhere, everywhere. He does.
It does. Everyone does.
I don't. I glisten. I don't even sweat. I've transcended that years ago. I'd say it's worse than working out with the pit bull because he sweats a lot more. Dogs don't have like the same sweat glands to sweat as much as humans. They just can't and quit. But Travis he slobbers and he sweats. So it's just an entirely disgusting experience, and one that I try to avoid at all costs.
Gross.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
tell me, Nikki, is this how you saw the podcast going? It
Well,
is, isn't it?
I just feel like I can totally relate because I mean, man, everyone except for Chandler who glistens. Everyone sweats and smells real bad on the competition floor constantly. So at this point, I'm like, yeah, what else? It's not new. Totally, yeah.
Very true.
That's great. That's good. Well, we'll have to get Travis on to get the other side of the story, I think.
If you hate witty banter and enjoy one-sided mockery, then you can definitely get him on so you can just embarrass that guy.
Yes.
Greatest ever.
If I hate alienating all of my listeners and losing followers, I'll have him on. That'll be great.
Perfect.
That's a great plan. So when during Mayhem did you hurt your wrist? Was it at the beginning of the competition or middle? When was it?
No. So it was actually during 20.4, and I was hanging out in Miami with Noah. He was crushing the open as per usual, and I was trying to keep up. And actually you're well aware of, my troubles with the front rack position and my total inability to clean like a professional CrossFitter at this point.
That's a little harsh.
Nikki, it's true. That's how the wrist
bad, dude. Why is it so bad?
Well, honestly, it's because there's like this concept called distal elongation that I remember reading about. And basically it says folks who come from equatorial regions or have ancestry from those areas, like longer limbs and fingers help dissipate heat better. That's why I got the skinny calves too, right? So like the ankles being smaller and like big hands and longer arms and stuff, those are traits pretty common within those African communities that my ancestry is coming from. And so because of that, my forearms are longer in relation to whatever the muscle that connects your shoulder and your elbows are. I'm not like a physiology guy.
Yeah,
so that makes the position harder. If you watch like Colombian weightlifters of African ancestry, like their re-rack is not like a traditional European re-rack where they come straight from the clean and pop it up. Like sometimes they'll just rotate their arms out like this. But yeah, in general, like the longer forearms there kind of hurts your ability to get in those positions in a satisfactory manner. However, in weightlifting, you're not asked to get in those positions as repeatedly as you would be in a workout like Fran or something with thrusters. And all that. So it kind of puts me at a physiological disadvantage for that, but also maybe is more advantageous in like getting in position for a snatch or for deadlifts and stuff. Yeah. So it all evens out.
That stuff is so interesting to me. And I remember my husband read an article about this. This was like a while ago. And it was basically just saying that like in order to be good overall in sport like that, so basically in order to be like, the best CrossFitter, you, on top of having to work super hard and train your weaknesses and get the mental game down and everything, you also basically need to have the genetic jackpot, basically, in being like, and I know John's going to make fun of short people in a hot second. So like, yes, it's easier if you're shorter, but also like that your forearm is like 2/3 the length of your femur, which then inserts at a 25-degree angle. Like it all matters to a point. And obviously you can train anything and everything, but it all matters to a point.
Yes, there's a reason why we're all short. There's a running joke. I forgot who told me it, but like anybody over 5'8" as a dude in CrossFit is like CrossFit giant. So they'd be like, oh yeah, that guy's CrossFit giant. Like he's like body types within sports arrive upon a certain archetype and like reflect that because that's what makes the most sense efficiency wise. And also too for us, like being a sport that where you have muscle endurance is a factor and stamina and everything, you also have to have like the right balance of muscle fibers. I think things that would make you very good. People always will say well, how would this NFL player do in CrossFit? My dad's been an NFL strength coach for the last 20 years. He played for 8 before that. Like I've been around a lot of NFL athletes and they wouldn't do well in CrossFit, I don't think, because they're so specialized. Like the skills that allow you to run a 4.340 and the muscle fibers that support that are not the type that are going to allow you to like be successful in a run like what we had at Mayhem or something like that. Like you almost have to be not good enough at whatever it is you were doing before CrossFit in order to facilitate a successful CrossFit career. Like, because if you are too good, if you are too specialized, those qualities you take away from your ability to be a good CrossFitter.
So interesting. That stuff as well.
See, this is why I'm a shitty CrossFitter, because I'm 6 feet tall. It's all explained.
That was exactly what I was going to say. And it wasn't that you were old or lazy or any of those things. I think what has been, and I was hoping we were going to talk about this, like what's been holding you back besides, because you have the right amount of aerodynamics with the bald head and everything.
Very true. And so specialized, a specialized skill in RXing the women's weight. Maybe too specialized to branch out into.
Hey, I'm an exceptionally strong woman, and don't let me tell you. It's true.
Impressive.
I don't think you're as strong as most of the girls that are at the games.
That's actually true as well. When I was at the MAC, I'd messaged Travis, and they were going to go to, I don't know, some gym in DC. They were trying to find one, and I'd found one. So I'm like, why don't you guys meet us there? And so his team meet me there. And, Paige Semenza. I've followed her forever. Yeah. So I've like, her mom follows me. Like, we kind of message back and forth a lot. And so she shows up, and I've always kind of thought I'd be a strong woman until she loaded the bar. And I'm like, holy shit, I am not strong. Like,
what are you doing comparing yourself to games athletes? Come on now.
Come on. Like,
come on.
I'm still a man, Nikki. Jesus, come on. Like,
I can't compare myself to the 14, 15-year-old teens. Like,
I know.
They're all crushing me.
Look, my point is, she's so strong. She's such a sweetheart, but she is so strong.
That's a good point.
Yeah, so I do love lifting the women's RX, but she's well beyond the men's RX in most cases. It was humbling, to say the least.
So I don't want to spend all of our time together talking about CrossFit because you're just so interesting, Chandler, even outside of the sport. And I'm excited to have you here. But before we sort of move away from all that, can we just talk about you going back to games this year, and what does the rest of your plan look like for the season to prepare? How stoked are you? What are you going to do differently this year? Like, there must be a lot going on.
Super jacked. I think super jacked about the.
You are also super jacked, just for the record. I
wasn't trying to say that.
That's a thing.
Sure, I'm just kidding. I'm just excited to like learn from the lessons that I gained there last year, and hopefully turn into a better performance. I think that's everyone's goal. One, I'm happy to go because for my confidence, I think there were still a lot of elements to me that felt like my getting at the games and doing as well as I did were kind of like a fluke. So I'm excited for the chance to prove that it's not a fluke. But even going into it, I feel like it's not. It's hard to fluke your way into the games through a couple of different mediums. Like, I made it to the Open this year. I've won a sanctional now, and then last year, like going through Rogue. Like, you don't accidentally make it twice. You probably don't accidentally win a sanctional and stuff too. So I'm happy to know that what I've been doing has been working skill wise. I'm very optimistic that I'll be able to go and do better. And then I won't be as afraid of the big lights. Can focus more on the performance side of things, because as much as I have been around Noah and Travis and Jacob Hebner a bunch before, to where like I had friends there and felt like I was prepared. Like, nothing really prepares you for the moment except for the moment. So I'll know what the corral is like. I can like feel more free to make jokes about how I'm the slowest guy who looks fast in history and all this other jazz that I was doing once I got comfortable. But for the first couple of days, I wasn't comfortable. So I think my mercurial performances of like doing very well and doing very poorly were and somewhat attributed to not being completely on top of my mental game. But got another year to have learned what works and what doesn't work in that regards for me, and also just a little bit more comfort around the elite in the sport.
Totally. It's just so wild for me to hear you guys talk like the way that you do. And by you guys, I mean the games athletes. I mean, we sort of talked about this, John and I talked about it when we did our episode recapping my time at Mayhem, because so many athletes there did interviews with me where they were just talking about how they wanted to feel like they belonged there. They wanted to prove to themselves and to everyone that they were in fact good enough to be there, or good enough to go to games, or good, that it wasn't a fluke. And it's a mindset I feel like we have, like I use air quotes, like everyday CrossFitters have. It's a mindset that we don't expect our superheroes to have. It's interesting to hear that you have the same mental game that you need to get over and you need to get better at, that you're constantly wanting to prove something, not only to yourself, but to everyone else. It's crazy to me that you guys, who are the best of the best in the world, also have those types of thoughts.
Our needs as far as ego, I'm trying to abuse the coach quote here, but like they vary by scale, not by like particularities or whatever it is. So like we're experiencing the same problems that John is experiencing, trying not to finish behind the 13-year-old girl in his class. Like
I crushed her, buddy. I crushed her.
It had to have been like I don't even know what type of workout. I was trying to think of something for you. I ran out of it.
That's fine. Totally fine.
Sit-ups. I'm great at sit-ups.
There you go.
There we go. Everybody's got their thing. So yeah, you got your things that you're confident in, and like there was a couple events where I knew I was going to do really well, but there was also a few where I was nervous, and then being nervous about it probably exacerbated how poorly I performed. And then now just knowing like the other guys are going to have bad days too. You're going to catch them on some events. Like we're all experiencing the same thing. So that kind of makes it more comforting.
So cool. So we know about your CrossFit, obviously, your CrossFit life. We know about your military life. But I mean, there's got to be other factors or other things, other hobbies. I mean, when you're not being in the military, when you're not training or trying to get to games, I mean, what is you? What like makes up who you are?
Well, right now, I'd say my biggest passion is the step challenge with my friends, because we take that way too seriously, and it's probably how most folks feel about going to like their CrossFit class. I'm joking, but I'm also kind of being serious.
I'm totally not joking.
About it. And I'm in fourth place right now. I'm really bummed about that because I'm a professional athlete. Like, I think having my work be related to my work with the fitness team, be related to my hobby, kind of has subsumed both of those things into being one thing. Like, fitness is my job. It's my hobby. It's everything. Like, everything's related to that. And I think to be very, very good at this level, it almost requires a lot of single-mindedness. So I don't go out a whole ton or like do a lot of social things, which I never really have since college. I've always kind of been a weirdo like that. I just listen to a bunch of music and then try to get as far ahead as I can as far as understanding programming or what the capabilities of my competitors are. Or there's just so much. The sport being completely new means that there's a lot of avenues for exploration that haven't been really traveled down yet. So by being around, but when I go travel and I pick up things like these folks are, Think Tank's been really big on the breathing side recently. So, all right, so how can I incorporate that in my training? Jacob built legendary capacity, but also is now getting very, very strong. And, he's older than me. Like, how are folks adjusting their training to build up strength? If I'm looking long-term, what can I pull from athletes and other endurance sports like rowing and running in order to make my CrossFit better? So like just conducting a lot of sports study because I got the rest of my life to do a lot of this stuff, and I really just see it as something I'm really grateful to do, to be able to pour myself completely into this now. And so that's what I do. Just try and.
Have you always been like this? Like when you have a single focus, like just all in all the time, like what can I do about this one goal?
Oh my gosh, you're asking have I always been a massive loser? The answer is absolutely.
No, stop.
No, 100% though.
Okay.
Like, to a fault. The loser part, I would like to share a funny story about how didn't go to high school dance until my junior year, and my mom tried to make me go to one my sophomore year. And so I got on the phone with this girl, and I didn't want to go. I didn't want to ask her. Mom was like walking me through this whole thing, and I said, "Hey, do you want to go to homecoming?" And she said, "No." And so I didn't go to homecoming that year. But then my mom didn't make me ask to go to any more dances. But that's my high school. If I could sum up my high school with one experience, it'd be either that or me crying after losing the state championship wrestling match. Like, I've just kind of been a real big weirdo. But in regards to like the single-mindedness, I first knew I wanted to go to West Point when I was 6, and then I started high school and I had like my goals for the grades I wanted to get each year. Once I started wrestling, I said I wanted to win a state title. I did the same thing when I got to West Point. I wanted to do this, had all these goals for after I got to West Point. And it's only recently been, I think, since I got back from Bulgaria last year, where I've kind of been open to thinking about life in a way where like it's not totally goal oriented all the time, because if you're not enjoying it, which I don't think I was maybe having a ton of fun with just going from one goal to the next and only doing wrestling in school and stuff, like it wasn't as fun as it could be. And I've been learning a lot from folks who do know how to have fun, like literally everybody else alive, and trying to pick up things from them. So,
but you do have a list, right? Don't you keep a list of goals still?
I used to have it in my car, like the list. I made it in 2015 of like fitness goals through 2022, all that, like making the games, numbers I wanted to hit and stuff. But I felt like if I wanted to live a life that was not totally focused on fitness, then like some actions like that needed to reflect a non-fitness focus. So I took it down. I still think about it a lot and everything, and it hasn't really changed what I trained. But I think it kind of has left me open to the possibility that maybe there's other stuff to do besides just exercise all the time.
Whoa.
I haven't found them out yet.
No,
Okay,
absolutely
okay.
not.
They're out there.
Absolutely not.
Go back like 4 conversations ago. Sorry, I keep asking all these questions. I'm diving down this rabbit hole. When you're not working out, or actually even when you are working out, go back to being really into music. What are your music options, and does it change depending on what you're doing?
Now that I know that John was a music major, I'm very nervous because I'm entering his career. We just went from talking about CrossFit to talking about music, and he's like an actual expert. So, John, you got to promise that you're not going to openly mock me or judge me for.
First of all, I'm hardly an expert. I'm a guitarist, which means I'm definitely not an expert. No, I love all music, so there's nothing to judge here. Like I love it all. So what are you listening to?
That's not true, because I saw on one of your pages that you complained about Saxon playing country. And then every Tuesday is Turnpike Tuesday in honor of the Turnpike Troubadours, my favorite band, even though they don't exist anymore because they broke up. They're like a red dirt country group, and red dirt's like a – go ahead.
No. I love country music. I don't love to work out to country music. Like I've been so lately it's been Luke Combs for me.
That's a good point. I don't think
it's hard to lift in 3/4. That's the problem with country music. It's all in like 3/4. It's like a swing beat. Like it's hard to lift, and you can't do double unders to an odd beat. You know, it's just tough. I don't like it.
And so the problem I think here is that most of what you just described, like for my average gym session, at least 2/3 of it is dancing. So it's very easy to two-step to. So maybe you should change your perspective to focus on how much of a benefit that is for your ability to two-step or line dance versus how much it takes away from the trivial things like performing the WOD or
hold on. Can we just talk about how have you and I never even been in like a dance session before? Because now I was a dance person in college. So now we're in my expert territory. Okay.
Sounds like you've been running, because it's pretty well known within the business that I'm the best dancer in CrossFit outside. It's either me or Dex, but I'm better at CrossFit than Dex, so I'll take the title.
I have it on video.
I'm just surprised because all those missed opportunities at homecoming to show the world you're dancing.
Oh, jeez!
It's just I'm so surprised.
Holy smokes!
He didn't say he danced with someone, Nikki. He just said he was good at dancing. All right, solo dancing, still dancing.
Jeez Louise. I have a glaring maybe, but one of my most glaring personality flaws is a total inability to take it as well as I give it. So I'm a roommate. I mock him relentlessly. I talk smack all the time, and then he'll say something back like, "Yo, man, like you left the oven fan on." I'm like, how could you say something so rude and so mean? So I'm a gentle snowflake, and what you said hurt me deeply. I would like you to know.
I'm so sorry, but I'm actually not sorry.
It's cool. Just know that I've only been making fun of John at this point.
No, bring it on. I'm here for it.
On both of you guys, so.
I'm here for it. Now I'm getting more used to it.
While he's busy roasting you, Nikki, I'm trying to find the video of him dancing, and I'm gonna text it to you real quick so you can see it while we chat.
I'm so excited.
He's got moves.
You'll hear it come through if you text it to me.
He has real.
I've been going to hip hop class since I hurt my wrist, since I can't do jiu-jitsu for the time being. So we've been working routine to Justin Bieber's Yummy.
Amazing. I would like to learn it. Can you send it to me via like video, and then we can just perform it together and we see each other next?
1,000%, but I'm actually going to
100%, 1,000%.
So do that. One of the things, if you've been at competition with me, I always make friends with the DJ, and I always ask him to play a few songs because like the music thing's really big. So I will make sure I ask, but the normal songs are Walk Through by Problem. Actually, it's not by Problem. So Rich Homie Quan featuring Problem, and Throw Some D's by Rich Boy. I don't know. Those are both like big gym songs for me, so I always ask the DJ to play. They normally kind of fit in with the CrossFit environment, like throwing down whatever aggressive stuff.
I love that. Are those like the songs that you put on if you know you're gonna have like a tough one or you got to push through or something? Do you like stop mid-wad to get the song you need going?
I've tried to move away from that because I have, again, like many glaring flaws. The neurosis is one of them. And now that I work out with a bunch of people on the fitness team, I like try to keep my various mental issues from disturbing their workouts. And something I would have done in the past, like I would have if it was a punk rock day. I like the thematic similarity in music. So it was the punk rock day. We have to start the Metcon with "Welcome to the Black," or we'd have to "Welcome to the Black Parade" by My Chemical Romance. It's got the nice piano intro and it builds up and everything, so it's nice. It's reflective of your heart rate, like 'cause you come in the workout and it's low and then it picks up over the course of it.
That's so poetic. Oh my goodness.
Thank you. Yeah.
Wow.
See, and no one ever appreciates that. And I'm like, you guys not realize how much time I spent trying to make this playlist for you to tell me that you want to switch to the next song. Like, this is very important to me.
This is a big deal.
It is to me, more than the workout, 100%.
Definitely.
Look, playlists are super important. Coaches don't give us enough action in a gym, but you need it to constantly build. If the WOD's gonna grow, you need the playlist to constantly build. And when they put on a song that doesn't match the WOD, it just pisses me off.
Oh, I hate that. I hate that. I have a couple go-to, like, there's a couple go-to Spotify playlists that are, they're just like super long and kind of like, I like working out to like just a solid beat. And so sometimes I can sort of shut my brain off as long as there's something energetic happening in the background. It's cool. And there's one that I go to if I'm coaching like multiple classes in a row, because I know if I put it on, I at least don't have to touch it. Like, there's not going to be something I have to skip, which is great. And I have no idea who made it, but it's super, super long. I never hear the same song twice. And it's called Pulse CrossFit Mashup. So if anyone is ever on Spotify and needs it, write it down. That's usually my go-to if I'm doing a few classes in a row and I just know, I don't know, I need to be hands-on and I can't be monitoring it that much. I've never like found myself needing to push skip too many times.
So now I can go through this playlist and I can find a song from there that I like, and we can use it as a talking point, because that's always good. I think something that's helped me with my communication, like being in the Army, where like you always end up meeting people from all over the place and like trying to forge a bond with them. One, I either like lie about where I'm from or just pick a place that I've kind of lived at. So I've kind of lived everywhere, and be like, oh, I'm from Alaska. I'm like, yo, Alaska, that's crazy. Like, my mom was in Alaska for a little. My grandpa stationed there, something like that. Like, it's a good icebreaker. So is the music thing too. Like, if you know what somebody likes and you say, oh, like, you know, what were you listening to right there? And they're like, oh, I was listening to this, and you don't know who they are, but you say, like, it sounds like this. And it's been an icebreaker, at least I found pretty successful. And it gives you an excuse to talk about music.
Oh, I love it. I lead with Lizzo always. Just you can't go wrong. Absolutely. Yeah.
John, if you were in charge, if you were king for a day and actually got to pick the music for your class, what were you playing?
Oh, well, it would probably depend on my mood and what the WOD was. Lately, it's been a lot of Logic and Childish Gambino. I love Childish Gambino. I can't get enough of that guy. I don't know why. It just every time just cracks me up.
He's amazing. The only artist I've seen in concert outside of the Troubadours as much as him, I've seen both of them 3 times. So big Gambino guy.
Cool.
Yeah, same for Logic. I like Logic because his albums, they tell a story. Like, you know, if you really kind of listen to them end to end, it just paints like a really vivid picture, and it's almost always about his life. And he has a really interesting life and backstory. And so it's from a perspective standpoint, it's fun for me to listen to. But just from a straight music standpoint, like, his beats are great, and so he's great to work out to. So,
Six is his producer, and Six is awesome. I do, however, feel like he's fallen off. 2014's Under Pressure was his magnum opus, I feel like, and then he's kind of made a transition into pop, and his life changing after Bobby Tarantino too, and like him getting divorced and stuff has probably negatively affected his music, in my opinion. But he's also increased his fan base since that point, so he's doing something right.
Yeah, well, losing half your money will do that to you.
Oh.
Says the divorce guy.
I hate to see that.
Where is Bean? Speaking of,
oh no, I locked the door. I kicked him out. I wasn't gonna let Bean in on this one.
Does everyone know that Bean is named after him?
Oh, I did not.
Oh, you didn't know? Yeah, Bean's named after Childish Gambino. I normally call him Donald Glover when but when it's just me and him, it's Don. You know, little Don.
Don. Yeah.
All right, so we're like best friends. That's cool.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
The bestie argument. You're stepping way into the bestie argument here, man.
I feel like this is not how you treat a guest on your show.
Far beyond
Let me have it.
the niceties at this point.
Yeah, not the worst way we've treated a guest on the show, believe me.
Also true. Yeah.
That's kind of the way it goes.
Who got the worst of the guest?
Who's been the worst so far?
Oh,
I don't know.
Oh, this is a good
We
question.
haven't had that many guests yet.
Yeah,
for the record.
Oh, here's the cop out. Oh, we don't want to say who's actually bad. Okay.
This is like that time I wouldn't tell John who smelled the worst.
Yeah,
It's not you.
It wasn't you. It definitely wasn't you.
No, it's not you. If it was you, I definitely would not have brought it up. I promise.
All right, cool. I'll take it.
Oh my gosh. All right. What's next? What's next for you? There's a long season, lots of possibilities ahead, and you're dealing with a few injuries. You've already punched your ticket. Like, how do you decide on what the rest of the season looks like?
I think I plan to just totally embarrass myself at the games. So I've embarked upon a rigorous eating plan of Oreos, Cheetos, like all the above, because I've already qualified. And I think people have for a long time been asking, like, what would it look like if a normal person competed at the CrossFit Games? And so I intend to give the people what they want, since Left Terrace is out and will not be able to show us what a depowered superhero is like at the games like he did this last year. So I will go. I'm trying to get to 250 by August, and that's like the conservative end of my goal. 300 would be nice. And if I'm that big, I think it'd be very interesting to see how I stack up with Matt in comparison to how I did last year. So really everything's building towards that. Yeah.
How shocked were you when Lefty got busted? It was shocking to me. I couldn't believe it. I'm still floored. It's one of those moments where you never forget where you're at, because it was just it came from left field, and like someone who'd been such a consistent performer for years at the European regionals, and with such a, an unquestionably work ethic developed body type, and who just didn't seem. Here's what I'm gonna be real honest with you. What threw me off, what made me real upset, because I was in the elevator for my brief time in Dubai. I was in the elevator with him. I'm pretty sure he'd known that I was talking smack about him, but my guy's 5'5", and we were in an elevator. It was going to end exceptionally poorly for him. So he took his Greek self out before he got the chance to really make any mistakes he would have regretted. But to finish as well as you did in the Open, and then go to a competition where it's not the Worldwide Open, and then not have a single finish that's as high as your first 4 workouts in the Open, it defies all logic. So my heart honestly just goes out to him, because something crazy must have happened where he lost a tremendous amount of fitness in the 1 month that the Open ended and Dubai started. So it's just one of nature's great mysteries. We'll never know, I suppose. And here's my argument for it is my argument for this is that when you're taking steroids, it creates extra body hair. But he's Greek, so how would you know? How would you know?
I think that's how he got around it, because he was I'm not going to grow any body hair. No one will ever suspect a thing, from any of my stuff. But as my man told the world proudly, he doesn't give whatever. So
doesn't. Nope. Totally doesn't. Do you see that, John?
Yeah. I saw it.
Yeah.
I got to be honest. So I get really, this is a real sticking point for me. I get really pissed when people start blaming, they'll go, all games athletes are juicing, I don't. When I say I train with games athletes, I train in the same room with some, but I don't actually train with them, right? But I watch Saxon and Spencer train all the time. And these kids, they weigh 175 pounds soaking wet and just bust their ass 24/7. So I get pissed when people say everybody's juicing, but I know some are. I'm not naive. Some people are. And this is a great example of somebody who killed the Open. And then to your point, a month later, mysteriously, just blows it at Dubai. How does that happen? I
understand those people who are still making that argument. People are getting busted, left and right.
Well, so the thing is, and kind of I've learned this too, just with my personal experience with people, accusing me of doing steroids, and I think just in general, you can never be good enough. Folks will always find whatever the next excuse is. So I think there's some areas probably where I lack credibility to people. I lacked credibility to people last year, so. Because I've never done anything individual. I go to Rogue. There's not enough people at Rogue. I go to the game. There's too much running at the games. Qualify through the Open. The Open's a goofy test. There's not anybody at Mayhem. There's always going to be something where people will find a way to shoot a hole into whatever it is that you're doing. So I think you just don't really try to engage at that point, because it's you'll never win. They'll find another thing. So people always say that there's no Americans are getting popped, or it's not the right Americans, or it's not superstars. And completely don't want to accept that maybe the folks are just doing things right. That's what I'm choosing to believe, because I'm participating against them. So,
Chandler, does that stuff get to you? When you hear people saying all that all the time, and it's not just you, it's all the athletes. Do you listen, or can you tune it out? How does that affect you?
Well, the fact that I just recited it all in chronological order means that I haven't thought about it once, honestly.
No, definitely not.
I just am very quick on my feet and was able to recall instances. Yeah, it gets to me all the time. I try not to engage with the folks who are negative, except for if you call me out for juicing, that's the quickest way to get a social interaction with me. Because I think people, especially on the internet, right, they don't see you face to face, and they're oh, I'm just going to say this thing and not think about, is this a hurtful thing? Do I have any factual basis for this? And normally when you actually talk to the person, well, it just figures, then blah, blah, blah. And they back down, or they're able to see you as a person, kind of humanizes yourself. So I really try to avoid it, but I think anybody who says they don't read their bad press is a liar, because like at some level we're all, we egotistical creatures. There's a reason why we post stuff to Instagram. We want to receive, affirmation from other folks that we are doing things that are cool and good and important. And when someone says that you aren't doing things that are cool and good and important, or that you're a bad person, like that is an attack at who you are. And so you pay way more attention to that. The one negative comment in 200 will, like, I'll think about that person or like why they thought that way more than all the other, like the support and everything. So
such a bummer.
Yeah.
I know. I get it. I feel the same way, but it sucks that affects us like it does.
Nikki, I posted a meme of Chandler a while back, and he didn't have a shirt on, and somebody came in and commented how big he was, and accused him of juicing. And Chandler came in and just ripped this guy. And in hindsight, you should have just DM'd him a picture of your calves, and it would have just gone away. Just like that.
Listen, bro.
My weight's up top. You think a real athlete? I think so a couple of things that folks like maybe like don't really, I think we look bigger than we actually are. Like everybody looks really big when you're 5'7". Like that probably helps with how big we look. And also too, I think like with the workout volume, I don't think people are coming at the workout volume thing from a perspective of understanding the sport as having objectives that are totally unique within the history of sport. Like we're the only sport that trains to be better at training. So the adjustments our bodies make are not going to be reflective of people whose sports are related to skill, which every other physical training endeavor outside of like weightlifting and pure running are like, there's an element of skill building. The only thing that I am trying to get good at is my ability to be better at the sport. My ability to be better at the sport is limited by practice, and practice for the sport is like working out. So if I can work out for longer, that's me getting better at practicing the sport, which is ultimately going to make me better at it. Like Rich Froning hangs out in his barn and does 30 Metcons a day, like, because he's been doing that for the last 5 years. But he didn't just wake up and do that, right? So like you can build up a tolerance. I just don't think people have seen like what it's like to build up a tolerance for high amounts of exercise, because no one's ever tried to be this good at exercise before. Because it's just a really silly goal, and I'm stuck in it. I wasn't good at wrestling. But yeah, between that, like, again though, it doesn't matter. I put on 5 to 10 pounds since I stopped wrestling. Like I was walking around 186 and cutting down to 165 in college. I've got 5 to 10 pounds bigger, depending on the day and if I went to Chipotle or not. And I work out less now than I did in college, and I also don't have to worry about school. Like, but in college, between waking up to go run, J-hour lifts in the middle of the day, wrestling practice for 2 hours, and then waking up or going on another run before I went to bed. Like I was working out probably like 5.5 hours, and it was all continuous stuff. There was no resting or whatever in between. I just don't know how many people have a real accurate understanding of what professional, or in the case of wrestling, semi-professional athletics demands of your body, and like understand this isn't that, we're not doing anything that crazy. It's just different.
Yeah, nobody online knows shit is what I've figured out. Nobody knows shit, but they love to tell you.
They do love to tell you.
They do love to.
Well, I think these guys think you can just stick a needle in your arm and all of a sudden you're super strong. Like they don't even understand how the drugs work, let alone how hard games athletes work out. It's
people just like to say whatever. Yeah,
people do like to say whatever, but that's part of it's honestly something to be grateful for, like that you are in a position where your actions are put that far under the microscope, because if there are that many negative people paying attention, there's also that many people who are paying attention in a positive light and are being inspired, or like deciding to make changes that are going to benefit their lives because they see what I do. So
it's very true. That's very true. I never ever got worse or more horrible commentary on me than when I was a news reporter, a local TV news reporter and anchor. Like people would go out of their way to write in the most horrible shit. And I was like, first of all, don't you have time? Like, what? Don't you have anything better to, like, I don't have time to like write to my local news people about how their hair or makeup or outfits look. Like, it was just so stupid. But then, you're right. Like on top of that, it was the kind of thing where I knew like, well, I did put myself in this position, right? Like I put myself in the public spotlight, and I'm grateful for the people who are there for positive reasons. It's still hard to swallow though.
Not true.
It sounds like you got a good outlook on it.
No, none of this is true, Nikki. It was just a week ago. You pissed off the entire country of Canada.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
She did.
I did. Yes. I hate Canada. Didn't you know?
She hates Canadians.
Good Lord.
Yeah. It's a weird thing to hate.
It sounds like that's something that Nikki really doesn't want to revisit. So I would like to
Yes.
put up the speed on that. What was the case?
Oh my God. This is like the 7th podcast. I feel like I've talked about this. I'm sorry to all the listeners. Okay.
The whole purpose of this was to like not do the typical like, I'm training, I've been working my weaknesses and all that jazz. Like you can hear that in the other podcast.
Right. So. You'll have to go back and listen.
Cool.
No, I'm telling the story then. So Nikki, when Nikki was around Craig Ritchie, I don't know if you know Craig, but Craig was talking to her and he said something to her about being from Canada. And she's like, oh my God, I'm totally not from Canada. And all the Canadians got pissed at her.
I was like, I'm so offended. You think I'm Canadian?
Did they talk like that? I don't think
I was talking. But then like John trolled me for like a week and was like, why do you hate Tim Hortons? Why do you hate maple syrup?
I can tell you why you should hate Timmy's, because they switched to like these new cups that don't work as well. And also
they don't work as well?
Yeah. So I went up to Kelowna to hang out with Brent a couple months ago, and then I have a friend from like iCams, which is like this Canadian like balance company, and she was telling me that they switched the coffee tops to this new one that this design that stinks, and they were like bought out by McDonald's. They've sold out. So one of my things on my list, my fitness list, was to not sell out. Timmy Hortons sold out. I don't mess with Timmy Hortons.
You be careful what you say, because the internet might come after you for hating Canada.
I love Canada. I will go back.
That's what I said. But here I am.
That's why I got to follow up. I prefaced it. It's a compliment sandwich. My first first college wrestling coach was awesome at it. He'd be like, Chandler, you are an amazing student. Your wrestling this last weekend was miserable. I hate that I'm associated with you, but I'm confident that with your stupidity and hard work, you'll be able to be better, less awful next time. I was like,
I don't know how I feel right now.
But I said something good about Canada, the truth about Timmy's in the middle, and finish with compliment.
Yep, compliment sandwich. Yep, he said he has a Canadian friend too. I picked up on that.
Yeah, I heard that.
Talking about Brent.
then you can totally say whatever.
Yeah. As long as you have a Canadian friend, you can make fun of them. Yeah, I look at it like this. If Tim Hortons is screwed up, it gives you an edge over Vellner and Bukowski. So there you go.
Did I ever tell you?
A tremendous edge over Pat, and that I can remain outside for longer than 5 minutes without being lit on fire.
It's true.
Brent is honestly too tall for CrossFit or any sport that's not basketball, so he's very lost and confused. I'm just kidding. They're both way better than me, so I don't actually want to talk about guys who are going to beat me regularly for the next few years. So
perfect.
Pat's one of my favorites because I suffer from the same affliction he does, which is I have to wear sunblock 10,000 every time I step outside, or just wear a flannel shirt over my entire body.
Can't relate.
Yeah, no. I have to keep SPF like 1,000 in my purse at all times because I'm married to a ginger.
Well, see, that's love right there.
It's true. You're welcome.
You chose that life, Nikki.
I did. I did not. I did choose the ginger life. The ginger life, I guess, kind of also chose me, right?
Kind of.
It's a two-way street.
I don't know how love works, but yeah, that's right.
Oh, no.
Me either.
Just kidding. Next part. John, you were married, so at one point you did.
That's right.
For a short while.
You have love for Bean, even though Bean hates you so much.
He hates me so much.
Why are you a cat person?
That's a great question.
I want to like you so much, but you are a cat person, and that is a big, like...
Oh, well, all right. Well, here's the story. So my daughters wanted a pet. They have a dog at their mom's house. I travel too much. Like I wanted to go to regionals or, sanctionals and the games, and boarding a dog is a big pain. And I drive a lot during the week for my real job, and I'm not home a lot. And, dogs need that attention, where a cat, you can just leave them alone forever. They don't give a shit. They want you to be gone.
That's true.
They're just waiting for you to die so they can eat you. That's basically the way they work. So I figured, I'd get a cat and see what it's like. And he's great about half the time. It's the other half, where they're just weird. He'll come over and he'll turn around for you to pet him, and then you'll reach down to pet him, and he'll scratch you like he wanted to be petted.
Oh, fuck that.
Yeah, he wants to be petted with your eyes. That's what he wants. He don't want you to look at him.
And honestly, and you should know that.
Yeah, I should.
The 50% ratio is miserable. I would like, if something was that I voluntarily brought to my house, I was like, this light only makes me happy 50% of the time. I'd get another light.
Yeah.
Or I wouldn't have it. That doesn't make any sense, John.
Well, yeah, but as you get older, Chandler, you'll figure this out. Like most things as you get older, like I wake up in the morning and my ankles hurt and the next day they feel great 50% of the time, just that's what happens. So you just kind of get used to it,
My dogs make me happy 100% of the time.
I would like to point out for anyone listening to this podcast, not all of my body parts only work 50% of the time. I just want to make sure I'm really clear about this.
You said it. But I think there's medication for that.
Yeah.
There is. Yeah. And your hair works 0% of the time, so that's like,
yes. There you go.
You can fix that. If LeBron James can bring his hairline back, then there's hope for you yet.
Totally.
Well, yeah. And LeBron and I are both from Cleveland, so that works out.
I don't know.
Among the many infinite things you and Mr. James share, like where do we start?
So much in common. So much in common.
We don't have enough time to go through that list, you guys.
This is true.
I wish we did. Yeah, we only have a few more minutes. We talked about everybody that you like to smack talk. Who in the CrossFit world is like all you guys have somebody you look up to. Who do you really look up to?
Look up to Hep. Easy. Hebner's awesome. One, man of faith. Like my faith is really important to me. Also, he overcame being really weird to get married and do that while also having a job. He's full time now, but at the time I met him when I was a soldier out of Fort Riley. Actually, I met him even before that because I'm from Kansas City originally. He's married. He has a real job. He's training super, super hard and wrecks himself. My guy Hep trains harder than anybody. I've trained with almost everybody except for Matt. Matt, please train me at some point. At this time, and he goes harder than anybody, and just his ability to balance everything and do it at a super high level while also having a good attitude is really, really impressive to me. So he's easily the guy I look up to the most.
I'm also so impressed by him now, with his YouTube channel, trying out all these different things and making a name for himself in the world of CrossFit, in addition to actually being an epic athlete. He's building a brand, and I think he's going to have longevity in a way that a lot of other athletes struggle with, which is important because this is your lives, this is your career, this is your reputation. There's a lot revolving around this part of your life. And so it's really cool. And I'm impressed at what he's been able to do outside of just stepping out onto the competition floor.
He's the coolest.
Yeah, he's awesome.
And now he's starting a hemp farm. That's a real thing, not even a joke, a hemp farm.
Hempner farm.
Hemp.
We don't do that for the United States Army, so...
Yeah, well, he's very clear it's not for weed, but I keep sending him Snoop Dogg memes. I can't help myself.
Even outside of that, also for any soldier who's potentially listening, CBD products are a no-go, so don't do that. Even though there's no THC in it, it's no-go. It's against rules. Don't do it.
Yeah, it's also not regulated to the point where I wouldn't even be I'd be nervous to be it is or it isn't containing of anything.
Stay away. The most hardest working, upstanding CBD oil in history, but that's
I love him. He's a great dude. I wish we had more time now to talk about CBD. When I was at the games, there was a CBD booth set up, and they put it right next to the FBI. There was an FBI booth for some reason, and they put the CBD booth right next to the FBI. I literally walked up to next to him. I'm like, "Do you guys plan this? How did this come up?" It was so weird. It was so awkward. Awkward for all of them, and I was enjoying it, so it was great.
I'm sure whoever said the booth was like, "This will be pretty funny. I'll do this."
Perfect.
Who do you guys most want on the show? Because there's a good chance that I know them, but not well enough to ask them. But I can pretend like I can, and I'll lie to you guys and say that I'll help you out.
Oh my God, that's perfect because you're not awkward at all.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, we want to get your high school prom date on for sure. We absolutely want her. Hepner, but I know Hepner. I'd love to have him on. He's super fun. We put together a list, Nikki, right? And
we did. Yeah.
You're the first one on our list, by the way. Your first one to come from the list. So it's exciting.
Thank you. I'm not at all shocked because I have outside media training and don't stare at the camera woodenly or repeat the same phrases that every other athlete does. So this is not at all surprising, but I appreciate it regardless.
You are great on camera, but I will say that you've come a long way since that first year at regionals.
Totally fair. I was nervous. That was the moment.
Everyone is nervous.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I think that maybe that's tied to the games thing. It's not my first time. I think at that time I was okay, did I somehow fluke it that year those 2 burpee workouts in the open? I'm really good at burpees. Did I actually make it, or am I just good enough at burpees? I got lucky and all that stuff's in my mind, and also dealing with becoming CrossFit famous over the course of
overnight. Yeah.
trying to
I
tell you.
loved that though. That was the first time I met you. That was the first time we'd ever really seen you on the competition floor. I have a picture of me on your shoulders from that year.
I remember.
That was so fun. You did so great.
Mention it, but it includes a guy who's been
I
extra.
know. That also made me sad.
Yeah. Nice guy.
I will get this story later. So I tell you who you could help us with is Noah Olson. I love Noah, and I need to talk to him about that top knot he's got going on right now. So I think that'd be fun.
Yeah.
I can tell you, I'll give you the secret scoop on the top knot. It ain't gonna be
Wah.
Noah is not the only one making hair decisions, and I think he has significant stakeholders within his looks department who are not pleased with how the top knot's. Sorry for spilling the beans there, Noah, but
Really?
it looks goofy. It would look great. He was trying to go into like dreads and stuff, but I don't think he's gonna get that far. So
I don't know. I like long hair in a dude. My husband had long hair for like 10 years. I told him if he cut it, I'd leave him, but he called my bluff. So here we are. I like it. I like the top knot. You don't like it?
And yeah, I don't think Joe loves it, but
Well.
Well, that's where you can help us with Noah. I'd like to get Noah on. He'd be
Perfect.
He'd be
cool.
good.
I talk to him every day, and I will ask him. We mostly talk about his agent, Bijan, is currently in the lead on the steps challenge, and Bijan's being ridiculous right now. So when I train, like I have to do things besides walk everywhere, and like Bijan apparently has decided to join like a marching band, and he's going for 24,000 steps a day, and I'm a Kobe RIP. But he also ran a half marathon in the middle of the week. Bijan hasn't ran more than like 6 miles in his whole life, but in the name of the steps challenge, he decided to run. The group of people I'm in the steps challenge with, they're all nut jobs, and it's awesome.
Damn.
Yeah, that type of stuff is going down. Like, I may or may not have ran a half marathon last night in an effort to try and make a late run at it. Also because Bijan did it, so I want to do it as well. So, yeah, it's a lot of foolishness going on.
You need to get like a dog and put like a tracker on a dog just so you have it like constantly.
That would be so. I would be the left Harris Theophanidis of the step challenge.
That's true. That's how that would work. Yep.
Well, we're officially out of time. I'm going to have to listen back to the podcast to find out everything we talked about to write a recap for this because we covered so many topics. I'm not going to remember it all, mostly because I'm old. But anyway, so hey, I appreciate you being on, Chandler.
I didn't hear anything you said.
You didn't hear any of that? Yeah, that's all right. I know I said I was going to. I'm going to have to listen back to the podcast to realize everything we talked about because we've covered so many topics. I don't even know where to start.
I know. So fun.
Yeah, it's great. So we'll have to have you back on so we can cover more stuff. Maybe after we get the test results on Lefty and we can find out what he really did. That'd be the best.
This is true. We have to make sure due process must be followed. There's a chance that he accidentally had it traded with Ricky Garrard's sample or something like that. So there's just no way of knowing if he's actually a dirty cheater. Or maybe it was just an honest mistake.
Well, I'm going with Enduraball. That's my best guess, but we'll see. All right. That is what's hot. It's in all the subs. All right. Well, we appreciate you being on, Chandler. This has been a lot of fun for everyone listening. Thanks for tuning in, and we will talk to you guys soon.